everybody, welcome to my kitchen. It's Fit with Deb, and we're going to make some chili because it's a snow day and I'm lazy and I'd rather be sledding with my kids than spending time laboring over the stove. So I'm going to show you how I do it. I usually never repeat anything, and I honestly just go shopping in my pantry. So I try to keep a lot of staples on hand, canned stuff and whatnot. So I'm going to start with 3 pounds of grass-fed beef, and I've already taken them out of the wrapper, trying to avoid showing you lots of blood. And I am one of those messy cooks. You know how if you're married, one of you is typically the clean one and one of you is typically the messy one? I'm the messy one who does all the cleanup after I've done all the meal prep. So this is going to cook while I make time with my family. So I started this with some low sodium chicken broth, just 1 container. You can do more if you want, but I'd rather get my juices from vegetables than just the broth. So 3 pounds of grass-fed beef, and you want to make sure it's not grass-fed and then grain-finished beef. That's different because we kind of want to avoid those grains. And I'm going to put in a monster 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes. If you're not a tomato fan, you're kind of out of luck in the chili department. There's just that. And this is diced tomatoes with lime juice and cilantro. These are some of my favorite things in life. So this is going to add some seasoning. My husband really likes to have more of like the picante flavor to things, so I make sure to always add some of that. And then some chopped green chilies. I'm a huge fan of, and it adds the color. So I always try to think, like, how can I eat the rainbow in a day? So I'm going to put in 2 cans of that. So it's a total of 9 ounces. I can never find the big cans, but maybe you can where you live. And I'm only going to put 1 can of beans, and you can pick your favorite kind. A lot of people think beans are a great source of protein. They're not. They're 70% starch. So I treat it as a starch. And I'm just going to put 1 can. I did drain that, by the way, but I didn't take time to rinse it because I don't care. And the way that I cook, as some of you know, I don't really measure because I don't really think there's a big difference if you have 1/8 of a teaspoon versus 1/4 of a teaspoon. It's not going to change the flavor all that much. I'm going to thicken this up with a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. Again, if you don't like tomatoes, I really don't know how you make chili, but I like to have this because I know how good tomatoes are as far as their antioxidant power. And I've got some rice. I'm the laziest mom in the world, so I do the pre-done brown, all-natural rice, and I'm just going to dump it in. That's an optional thing for you. You don't have to do it. And I never put uncooked rice because I feel like it's always going to be like hard grossness, so I'm not going to do that. And again, with the lazy theme, I buy pre-chopped onions and peppers, and they're frozen, so you don't have to worry about them going bad. So I'm already getting to the top of my crock pot. This is when the nervousness starts to set in because I'm like, what if it doesn't all fit? And I have had my crock pot chilies overflow before, so I'm going to try to avoid that. But most of everything that I have left is spices. So I'm going to add a little bit of sea salt. If you can find Himalayan, that would be my recommendation. And of course, you're going to need some crushed red pepper flakes. And I'm very generous with these. You can kind of decide how spicy you like your things to taste. And this is going to make meals for days. Chili powder, of course. Be generous because remember, this is 3 pounds of meat you're seasoning. This is not just a one-time meal that you're making. And garlic powder. Oh, that one's not open. I'm too lazy for that. So we're just going to use the straight garlic from a jar. I never buy garlic in the clove form. I don't have a garlic press, but I am going to put a lot in here because, again, my husband likes garlic, so I'm going to go for that. Here's my secret ingredient from a friend. I take no credit. I use ground cinnamon in chili every time, and it adds just a really different kind of savory flavor to it. So I'm going to shake a bunch of that in, and then I'm going to add a little bit of paprika. Again, why bother measuring this stuff out? Just shake a little bit until you like the color, and it's going to be really rich and delicious. A little bit of pepper, not much. My kids love pepper, so I'm going to add that. And then, of course, you have to have cumin. If you don't like cumin, you don't have to add it, but it does change your world. Again, a lot of these spices that I use to make my own taco seasoning sauce. So instead of buying those packets that have sodium that's like hundreds of milligrams. That's crazy. And I'm going to cut up a few green onions. Yum. I know I already put the diced frozen ones, but I just want to add as much spice to this as possible. And then I bought a few mushrooms from the store. If you don't like mushrooms, you don't have to do it, but I think they're fun. So I'm going to put this in my crock pot, and I'm going to have it slow cook. I'd rather it have time to get all those juices to marinate, so I'm going to cook it on low for 6 to 8 hours. If you're in a hurry, obviously you're going to cook it on high for 4 hours. And while I'm cutting these, I would love for you to, for free, subscribe to my Fit with Deb channel, because I have lots of cooking tips and I have lots of exercise help to make you the fittest, most fabulous you possible. Okay, so I feel like that's pretty good. And I'm going to stir this, if I think about it, in between my slitting sessions. I'm going to stir this every hour or two if I want. If I don't, not. I had some extra stuff I didn't use. All right, so we're going to put this on for 6 hours and pretend that we are in charge of the kitchen. Voila! We are done. Thanks for spending time with me. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, grab a bowl, and make some chili yourself.